Hollywood Actor Podcast with Kevin Scott Allen, Part 3.
Creating is difficult. I'm sure all of this, I'm sure you've experienced this when you thought, you know what, I could go through them, I could go over this part, I could go over my lines, I could go over this monologue, or I could take a nap. I'm going to just take a nap right now. Because it calls upon us to use parts of us that most people never do. Most people go through life knowing exactly what they have to do to get through the day, and that's what they do. They don't do any more than that. They don't experience any emotions other than the ones they need to get through the day. And if something unpleasant comes up, they try to push it aside. Well, we can't do that as artists. We can, but that'd be like a painter painting with one color. So, so sometimes I have to force myself to write, or force myself to go over my lines, or force myself to look at a part.
That's part of your identity. You're not just an actor. You're not just a filmmaker. You're a creative.
Bingo.
So you're in that world, as opposed to using art as a vehicle for your business, or using art as a vehicle for your own therapy.
Yeah.
You're using it because that is who you are.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't mean to say that there's anything wrong with people who have come out here just to be in the business because they thought it would be a business they wanted to be in, and they look at it as a business. I have several friends who were successful actors when they were younger, and then when they got older said, okay, I'm done. I don't need to create anymore. I did it because it was fun and interesting, and I fell into it. And now that it's requiring work, I don't need to be an artist. I'd rather go do something else. And that's fine if that's who you are. But you're right. If you're an artist, an artist is who you are. You're not an artist because you're not on TV this moment, or because you didn't book that audition, or because you didn't get that guest star. Bull. You're still an artist. What was it somebody said the other day? Van Gogh didn't sell any paintings during his lifetime. So are we going to call Van Gogh? I mean, if he did, he sold one. Does that mean Van Gogh wasn't an artist? And all of a sudden he became one after he died? No, he was an artist. Always was. Just for some reason, didn't have the right audience. Didn't have the right agent.
That's important to remember and to reinforce. And for me, I have to do that on a weekly basis. Otherwise, I think the business does try to wear on you, tries to create those stresses, tries to make you guilty. It tries to get you to judge yourself because you feel that you're judged. Yeah, I'm constantly trying to rebalance myself to make myself feel better about where I am in my career, to make myself feel more of a whole person taking this journey through life that is irrespective of those projects that I'm booking. We are not our work.
Exactly.
Is, what another actor that came on the podcast was saying. And
well, most of us
completely, I'm just trying to feel that for myself, not just know it, but actually feel that.
And that's the trick. You're right. Taking the words, making them feeling. Most actors, and myself included, I think we became actors because there was something in us, a need to feel we were more than we thought we were. Many people become actors to hide. If I'm playing a character, I'm not me. If I'm playing a character, I'm accepted. If I'm just me, I'm not accepted. So let me be a character. And they've tied in success in acting with being success as a human being and acceptance, because it's so closely tied into an emotional need. And I think that's pretty much true of any artist. An artist creates because he or she is feeling something that needs to be expressed, that can't be contained inside. And if you link whatever that expression is going to do to make you feel better, if you link that expression with somebody purchasing it, somebody buying it, somebody hiring you, then you are now putting your own self-worth in somebody else's hands. And the trouble is, they don't know it's in their hands. They're not hiring you. They're not hiring you because you're not worthy. They're not hiring you because they decided to do red instead of green. But if we put our self-worth, if we don't let it be in the creation and we let it be in the result, somebody else's result of our creation, then we're essentially putting our lives in somebody else's hand. And that's difficult because as I said, we became artists in many ways to seek acceptance. So if we can learn to accept ourselves and learn to accept the fact, if I create, whether somebody else acknowledges it or not, doesn't matter. It's hard to do. It's easier said than done. But if we can at least get to the point where we acknowledge that it's still worthy, I think that's the only way to get through this life as an artist in this town. It's, otherwise you're going to be like Van Gogh and not only cutting your ear, cutting everything off.
Exactly. You got to take back that for yourself so that you can be a more powerful artist and a more powerful person.
I know it's hard. It's very difficult. I mean, and for all this talk, of course there are days where I wake up and I'm thinking, holy crap, what a crappy life, blah, blah, blah. For me, I'm fortunate doesn't last very long. Usually after 2 hours, I'm done. I go pet my dog and I'm fine. But I know a lot of people, artists, struggle with depression. I know it can be a very, very difficult and lonely life. And I think we just have to learn how to take care of ourselves and how to celebrate what it is that we do, whether anybody else is celebrating it or not. That doesn't mean don't listen. If you're, quote, not getting work because you're not performing up to the level you need to be, then you need to hear that and address that and get training. But it also means you can't make somebody else's opinion the end all and be all. And that's hard to do.
Well, you seem like you've adjusted your psychology to be a very healthy artist. And I'm so glad that you're able to write a book to help actors conquering the film and television audition. You released that a few years ago, and you still have ongoing classes?
Yes, I teach at it's Alan Feinstein Studios. It's in Sherman Oaks, and Alan's a terrific man who's run that studio for, 20 years at least, I think. And I teach the film and TV audition class, and it's specifically geared towards film and television auditioning. And it's, I send out sides every week, just like an audition, and they bring it in, and it's on camera. Because you can be the greatest actor in the world, but if you don't know how to audition, you're never going to get a job. And it is a whole separate skill. Auditioning is not the same as performing. It's not the same as showing up on set. It's totally different. It's close. It's a close relative, but it has a whole set, as I'm sure you know, of an experience of requirements that are not needed or are vastly different from the requirements when you book a job. And there are a lot of cold reading classes in town, but there are very few people who really stress what you need to know to audition. It's so much more than just cold reading. It really is. There's so many other things that enter into the picture. You're essentially going in there and saying, this is why you should hire me. I can make your job, your show successful. To me, the most rewarding experience is when my students start getting work. It thrills me more than when I book because it's exciting. It's exciting when they get a concept. It's exciting when they can actually put that concept into practice. And I'm like a proud parent. When one of my students books a job, I swear I'm dancing up and down, grinning from ear to ear, and I can't sleep at night.
And it sounds like your approach is like you were talking about, the psychology of how to approach those auditions, how to feel like you're creating and not creating for them or for an end result, but for creating for you and being open, available within that experience of the audition and feeling good about yourself as an artist and as a person as you are able to drive away.
Exactly. I mean, it's a marriage of two worlds. You have to go in there and honor the material. You have to understand what is written, and you have to make sure that you give the requirements of that piece. And most actors, don't know how to read a script. They have no idea how to read sides. I mean, all they do is look for their lines. And there's so much information in the side that tells you have to look at it almost from a director's standpoint. What is needed to make this scene filmable in this particular show at this point in time in the show? So, but at the same time, you have to, just as you said, you have to be available and you have to give a Jamie Jung performance that nobody else can give. That with the same material, you have to go in there and be unique to yourself. Because if you're unique, you may not book that job, but I guarantee you they're going to remember you. They're going to bring you back. And I've actually heard casting directors and producers say in an audition room, we need to find something for that actor. It's not this part, but we need to find something for him or her because they've brought in something that was so unique that they thought if we don't, we're actually hurting ourselves. So if you do that as an actor and you honor the material, you don't go in there, and do it in another language because you thought it would be more interesting. If you bring their piece to life, you're going to be successful. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, you can't be a space cadet about it. You can't be so artistic that it leaves the medium or style that the sides are obviously hinting at. But again, going back to like what you were talking about, the psychology and the health of balancing those regular auditions, keeping the engine running. We're keeping that metaphor going.
That. I swear to God, I'm stealing
that,
it.
and I like that one actually.
Well, I'm borrowing it.
Yeah, but borrowing, yeah, sure, it's for everybody. It's here on the Hollywood Actor Podcast for everybody, for our community of actors, and so are you. And so that's why I wanted to, with a final question to every actor that I bring on the podcast, is I'm asking, how do you plug in on a weekly basis to the Hollywood film industry? And there are aspects of that. How do you maintain your health? How do you ground yourself as you are tracing that elusive dragon?
I read the trades. I'm subscribed to a email thing called Synopsis, Cynopsis, which is pretty much a daily online trade journal. Just let you know what's going on in the business, who's doing what project, what studio's doing what. It sort of keeps me abreast of, all right, what's happening in the business. I watch TV and film shows a lot. Again, have styles change? What's new out there? What's going on? If I see a part that I could have done, would I have done it that way? What would I have done that's different? And then I also just try to keep myself working on any project as much as possible. I just got cast in a play for the Fringe Festival, which I think is exciting as hell. It's only 5 performances, which is great. It's not going to tie up my time, but it's a role I'm excited about because it frightens me. And anytime something frightens me, I say I need to go for that. So I try to find something that I can work on, whether it's for myself to just self-tape and analyze it, or if it's for somebody else. I go on pretty much every audition I can, even if I know I'm not going to take the role, because I think auditioning, again, I look at it as creating. So if I get an audition for a student film and I actually have the time to go do it, why not? Even if I know I'm not going to take the role, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to use that 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute audition to create. Now I've just created that day. I've created that week. And then, of course, if I don't want it, I just say, can't do it. But I think we need to find ways to keep ourselves creating, whether it's reading a play, whether it's reading a script, whether it's memorizing a scene, memorizing a monologue. I try to do that continuously so that not only am I raring to go when an audition comes up, but I am satisfying my own need to create. And then if somebody wants to hand me a big check, that's wonderful. That's icing on the cake.
Yeah, icing on the cake, indeed. We got to focus on the things that truly matter, that we can control, and the result is something that we can't. It can't matter because we can't control it. So we just got to let it go.
I know it sounds, kumbaya and all that, but I don't know how else to deal with it. In an industry where you have no control, I don't know how else to deal with it.
No, I think that's an extremely healthy way to deal with it. I mean, we only have a certain amount of resources, time, money, energy, to complete a lot of things that we need to complete. We need to pay rent. We need to keep ourselves engaged with the industry and with our own creativity. And we need to
create your own stuff.
Healthy people.
I mean, people get this concept of, oh my God, I can't do that. I can't make a movie. I can't. Why not? It doesn't have to be, a blockbuster. Get your freaking cell phone out, write a scene, get a couple of friends and film it. Nobody has to see it. But you've just created something. You just had an acting job. If you need to, pay yourself $1. But if more people do that, I think they're gonna find at least a degree of semi-satisfaction in this life and a degree of autonomy. If you just wait for someone to give you a project, Okay, that's lovely. We'd all like to have a studio banging our door down with script after script after script. That's lovely. I'd like to win the lottery too. Am I sitting around only putting my eggs in one basket and buying lottery tickets every day? No. It's, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a more active participation in my happiness. So write something, get your friends together, film it, have fun. Next time you write something, we'll film your project. And it can be on your cell phone, and you can look at it and you can laugh, you can edit it together. Not only are you creating, you're learning about the business and you're learning what it's like. As an actor, I tell my students, do everything you can so you know what an editor's job is like. If you know how hard it is to edit something, that's going to make you a better actor because you know what has to be on that film for that man to edit your performance in and not out. If you know how difficult it is to direct because you've directed, you're going to be a better actor because you know what you need to give this man or woman to make their story work. So do that. Create. Don't sit on your rear end. Do something.
Thanks for listening to the Hollywood Actor Podcast. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening.